See students, we are having plenty of examples to explain this friction part, and in your day-to-day life you are having a lots of things that you can predict that yes, here is more friction, yes, here is less friction, and even you can tell your parents that here, see what does a friction plays a important role in your part, in your life. Okay, so here what factors that are actually affecting the friction? The first of all is the nature of the surface that are in contact. Yes, of course, like the surface, if it is more in contact, so we can say more bonds are formed, and here more bonds to break, because if the more bonds are formed, we need to make this break and to move forward, because friction itself gives the indication that it always applicable in the opposite direction of the motion. So here if we need to break the bonds, that is why it is going to be moved. So here is the means that more friction is there. Again, more contact is there, more bonds will be formed. That means more bonds will be formed. And if there are more bonds, then we need to break more bonds here itself. That means more friction will be there. Okay, so here let's suppose we are having an example that a concrete road is there. Okay, you might have got for joggings and walkings all time. There might be have muddy area and a concrete form also. Okay, so we do not slip on the concrete road anywhere, anytime, like on muddy surfaces like here. If there is some kind of water is formed there in rainy days itself, okay, so you will see that your shoes got slip here. But on concrete road, because the more rough surfaces are there, so we are not going to slip here, because more rough surface, that means more irregularities. That means our shoes molecules or atoms are going to be insert in that irregularities, and that irregularities give the adhesive force in between the two surfaces. So we need to break more bonds here, and so we can say that more friction is provided in this case. Okay, one more example you can see here, like if you are buying a new shoes and the old shoes here. So new shoes provide more rough surface, or we can say more irregularities. So we can say new shoes are having more friction because they are new. So in diagram, as you can see here in diagram, new shoes are having spikes, okay, like this zigzag, and that zigzag is actually nothing but irregularities, and that irregularities itself gives you more bond to form. Yes, and so old shoes here, because old shoes are got rotted, okay, they are worn out. So worn out shoes gives you less friction, because now the surface of it get rubbed and the irregularities are not there so much compared to the new shoes. So the irregularities are less bond will be created, and less bonds have to be break. So we can say that less friction is here. So it is easy to walk in new shoes compared to the old shoes. So we have discussed one major factors, that is the nature of the surface affects the friction. So here is the second topic that we can say that the weight is also affect the friction. How? Yes, of course, weight is going to be major role here, because it is very easy to move a lighter box compared to the heavier box. Why? Because in heavy box, as you can see, more weight has been put in the downward direction. Weight is always works in downward direction. That you know or not? Yes, of course, I think you know that weight is always applicable in the downward direction. So now more weight is given on the surface that is in contact with the box. Okay, so now we can say that the weight gives the bond to be more tightly packed. It will have more adhesive force now. So lighter box, because it is light in weight, so it will have less contact in the surface of the body. Okay, and in heavier box, in case of this, because the box is heavy, so it will exert more force towards downward, so the adhesive force between the surface will be more. So we can say that there are two factors that always works in case of friction. One is the nature of the material, nature of the surface, and the weight of the object, of an object. Okay, so this is how these two can be explained by you.